Today on Westfield 360, stay tuned because we're going behind the scenes of the Westfield Rescue Squad.
Benefits received from volunteering on the Rescue Squad are skills you'll have for a lifetime, satisfaction from helping others, free medical and safety training including EMT certification, child care reimbursement, full-time scholarship student program, group term life insurance, length of service award program, workers' compensation and disability insurance, help your neighbors and have fun.
Hi, we're here at the Westfield Rescue Squad with David and Kelly, and I'm going to ask you a few questions about what your role here is. David, can you tell us your name and how long you've been with the Rescue Squad?
My name is David Auschler, and this is my 6th year volunteering with the Westfield Rescue Squad.
And I understand you're a medical student at NYU also.
Yeah.
So how do you find does that help you being at this Rescue Squad? And tell us how that kind of plays together.
Definitely. I mean, the first 2 years of medical school are all classroom work, and it's very hard to get, a sense of interacting with patients and how, you'll do at the bedside. And, the rescue squad is all interacting with patients. We, spend some very, traumatic moments and, stressful moments with our patients. So it's definitely, taught me that I can, I like the stress.
You like the hands-on?
Exactly. And I,
Do you have to have, could you be a faint of heart, or do you have to have a little bit of a strong will to be in this volunteering here?
I mean, thankfully, the majority of our calls aren't, life or death calls. You definitely don't have to, have to be able to stand the sight of blood.
You do.
Yeah, we unfortunately, get some. Yeah. But yeah, I mean.
Let me ask you this, what is a typical call like? Can you take us through, myself and the viewing audience through a typical call?
Sure. I think one of the greatest things about, the rescue squad is that there's no such thing as a typical call. I mean, every day you come in, it could be something different. And, in Westfield, we see the range of, of calls. We get from, serious trauma to, life-threatening injuries, either, heart attacks or even cardiac arrest, and we also get a lot of, just general illness, some, bone and joint injuries. But
what's the most common call? Is there a common call, or it's just too
well, because we have a very diverse population, we get a lot of, bone and joint injuries from, people out being, athletic, or kids on sports teams. We have a large, senior citizen population. We have a lot of, complex medical calls, but.
Is there one case that sticks out in your mind that you kind of just were like, wow, this is great training because I'm going to love being a doctor, or I don't know if I can do this? Did you ever have one of those defining moments?
Probably the first time I had a cardiac arrest was one of those moments.
Was it scary?
Extremely.
And what happened, if you don't mind my asking?
Sure. We were down here, and so what happens is when someone in Westfield calls 911, you go, you get the police dispatch center, and they determine it's a medical call. They call for us, and so we were sent to the Westfield Y for someone unconscious, and the police were great. They were there within I think 30 seconds, and it turns out it was right before a swim meet. It was in the gym, in the gymnasium. There were about 300 people there, and a man just collapsed and cardiac arrest. And so,
and let me just, how many people from the rescue squad go on a call?
So typically, a normal crew is 2 members, 2 regular members. Then a large part of what we do is actually training new members, and so we'll have what we call them probationary members, and either 1 or 2 will also accompany if they're around.
And how long is the training period?
It varies. The New Jersey State EMT course is about 200 hours, I believe. So I think 120. I'm sorry. So all of us, go through that, and then, we want to orient, new EMTs to our protocols and to, actually getting some real experience. So the probationary training period, varies.
Depends on how many calls you get.
Exactly.
So, and I'm going to ask Kelly about the protocol you mentioned, because I do know this is a volunteer squad, and you also coordinate with the police and the fire. But before I get to that, let's go back to that auditorium. Tell me how the day unfolded.
So, Yeah, I'd been on the squad maybe 6 months, and I was lucky in that, you know, the crew members I was with, both of them had, I think, between 15 and 20 years of experience.
Wow.
So they, you know, were great teachers, great, you know, to kind of show me what to do. And so, you know, thankfully in the audience there was actually a doctor and a nurse who started CPR, and then, you know, so we responded, the police responded, and then for any, you know, life-threatening call, the paramedics respond from, you know, either Overlook or Rahway Hospital.
So were they there? Did they come as well?
Because they're based out of the hospital, their response time is usually a little bit longer.
Sure.
So we got there and they were there within a few minutes. But
so and what's the general response time for you?
For us, I think Kelly would have the answer a little bit better.
I would say 5 minutes.
Wow, that's excellent. And you mentioned that you were there with somebody or some of the people who've been here 15, 20 years. What is that? Is that the general? I mean, I know this seems like a family kind of unit here. And Kelly, maybe you can speak to that. How long have you been with the rescue squad?
Actually, I've been here 6 years as well. We were actually in the same training course.
Were you? So you've been through the fire together?
Yeah, so, but I would say the average would be 5 years, maybe on the squad. You know, a lot of people come on here because they want to use their skills somewhere else down in life. People move, they have children, and so there is a high turnover rate.
And let me ask you your title. You have an official title here?
Yeah. I am the scheduling lieutenant of the squad. I make sure that we have a crew here at all times.
Okay.
And I'm also a regular member.
And now, explain to all of us, how does the protocol work, since you have to coordinate with the police and the fire in Westfield? How does that go?
Well, initially when a call comes in, it goes to the police department. They dispatch the necessary units.
Right.
We get sent to a job. On scene already is a police officer. If it happens to be a call where there's difficulty breathing, the police officer will already have oxygen on the patient. They are incredibly helpful. We have a really great police department here. If we have if for some reason we don't have enough people around, sometimes we get second, third calls, which it's very hard to staff 3 ambulances, especially
Does that happen often?
Yeah, it can happen. Some weeks we just get tons of stuff. Some weeks we get nothing. So
now, you've probably seen, you know, lots of seasons. You have the holiday seasons, the summer. Is there a pattern to?
I think December and January are hot months. I think, especially with the holidays coming around, it causes more people stress and more injuries.
Really interesting.
Also, the spring. In April, all the kids start going out to play their sports. Right. We get hit again. So.
And do you find that you have a good support here? Are there a lot? I know that you're volunteers, which I thank you. I mean, the town of Westfield owes you a great debt of gratitude, because you serve such an important function. You're dedicated people and volunteers. There's nothing like the passion of a volunteer, I think. And thank you. So how many people do you have as staffing, you know, on the staff?
Well, we have around 50 to 55 regular members.
Wow.
And then we have 25 in training right now. We've actually gotten a lot more recently because of the economy. A lot of people are now thinking about moving into the medical field, where there are
there's always demand.
There's always a demand.
Unfortunately,
yes.
right.
So we are getting our staff up. We have maybe between 30 and 40 dispatchers. They sit at our desk. They answer our